This is Kuala Lumpur, known for its beautiful temples, vibrant markets, and 400 million-year-old caves. Oh yeah, and it has a few skyscrapers too. The Petronas Towers held the title of world's tallest buildings between 1998 and 2004, and it's currently adding Merdeka PMB 118, the world's second tallest building, to its skyline. It's also one of the fastest growing metropolitan regions in Southeast Asia, having transformed from a small tin mining town in the 1800s to a thriving centre of culture and commerce. Now, KL, as the locals call it, is evolving again, but this new chapter is about more than just sky-high structures, although building tall is still part of the plan. Malaysia's capital is going big in a different direction, building sprawling mega-developments that could help it become the new Asian superpower it's long aspired to be. Since gaining independence from Britain in the 1950s, Malaysia's been on a remarkable journey.
We see new buildings and new industries that mark your great economic advance and progress.
Modernising its economy and becoming a key hub for trade and investment, the country's brought us some of the world's most impressive buildings, boosting its international reputation. In the 80s and 90s, Malaysia had one of the fastest growing economies in the world, and although that has slowed, it still has big ambitions for growth. Its goal is to become a high-income nation and a fully developed country by 2025, 5 years earlier than previously planned. One way the government plans to do this is by turning Kuala Lumpur into one of this planet's most livable cities, while giving the country its first international finance centre, one that it hopes could rival London, Hong Kong and Singapore. The city now has some seriously big developments underway that'll help it meet these objectives, with much of the work happening across one enormous site. Meet the new Tun Razak Exchange, or TRX for short. This 70-acre development is set to become Kuala Lumpur's new central business district all on its own. Think of it as a city within a city. There's a lot going on. Some 30 buildings are being constructed here with a combined gross floor area of over 2.2 million square metres. That'll give TRX an estimated gross value of 40 billion Malaysian ringgit, or $9 billion US. On the finance side, things have started strong. Some of the biggest names in banking, like HSBC and Prudential, have already set up new headquarters here. But there's more to it than business people in expensive suits. It'll be packed with high-end residences and retail, leisure facilities, cultural centres, and almost a quarter of the new land is going to be green space. One thing this city has a real lack of. The project takes its name not from exercise equipment, but from the second Prime Minister of Malaysia, Tun Abdul Razak Hussein, and its position next to Jalan Tun Razak, one of the city's busiest highways. Taking up a large part of it is the Exchange TRX, also known as the Lifestyle Quarter. That's right, the Exchange TRX, part of the Tun Razak Exchange, which is shortened to TRX. If you're a little confused by the names, we don't blame you. It's a joint partnership between Lendlease and master developer TRX City, which is wholly owned by the Malaysian Ministry of Finance. The 17-acre complex includes 6 residential towers, an office building, retail, mall, hotel, and a 10-acre park. Now, most major cities would struggle to find space in their centres for a park that size, and Kuala Lumpur is no different. That's why planners decided to put it on the roof, with lush greenery that cascades downwards, spreading into other public spaces around the quarter. Its green credentials don't end there. Sustainability has been central to a lot of the design and construction work going on across the district. There's an on-site facility for treating and recycling wastewater, the first of its kind in Southeast Asia. TRX predicts it will reduce its water consumption by around 500 million litres each year, compared to a typical development of this size. That's about 200 Olympic pools. A lot of the construction materials used in the financial quarter were recycled or sourced locally, and many surfaces have been treated so less heat from the sun gets into buildings. That means less energy that needs to be spent cooling them down. Today, the site is buzzing with high-rise activity, but it's been like this for years already. One very noticeable feature has been finished for a while, a structure that quite literally stands out above the rest. It's called the Exchange 106, now Malaysia's third tallest building. The super tall skyscraper comes in just short of those nearby Petronas towers at 446 metres. It was one of the first buildings to open its doors here in 2019 and features a 48-metre glass crown sitting above 95 stories of office space and a retail podium. The project took just 3 years, quick for a building of this size, with China State Construction Engineering handling the build. Thanks to its column-free floor plates, the building offers some of the largest space in Malaysia, as well as unusually flexible layouts and open-plan interiors. Now, having all this stuff in one place wouldn't really work without good transport links. As well as being easy to get to by car and bus, there are 6 major roads and highways linking to it. TRX is well connected by rail too. Everywhere on the site is within 5 minutes walk of Kuala Lumpur's biggest and deepest mass transit station, and the only interchange on the entire network. Despite there still being plenty to do before the whole thing completes over the next decade, 99% of the main infrastructure is already finished. New roads have been built, existing ones have been upgraded, and pedestrian links have been added in and around the development. This includes a new road bridge that had to be built over one of those highways connecting the main district to the urban quarter, where many of those residences are. During its construction, 4 trusses, 66 metres long and over 200 tonnes in weight, had to be lifted into place using a crawler crane. These lifts, the heaviest on the entire project, required all surrounding roads to be closed and had to take place at night. It all seems to be coming together quite nicely, but that wasn't always the case. Back in 2015, TRX became embroiled in a major scandal that almost saw construction grind to a halt.
That the TRX project will be completed despite more than 3 billion ringgit of government funds misappropriated from TRX City Central Berhad by 1MDB.
1MDB, a sovereign wealth fund that was one of its main sources of capital, was found to have misappropriated around $4.5 billion, diverting it to government officials and bankers. The news caused outrage nationwide and saw its former Prime Minister, Tun Razak, jailed for 12 years. Instead of leaving the project with a huge compensation bill and an abandoned skyscraper in the middle of the city, the government put up the missing cash, allowing TRX to continue. Today, work's back in full swing. There's kind of more construction happening in one spot than you'd expect across a whole city. And yet, this isn't the only place in Kuala Lumpur where a massive new development is taking shape. Towards the northwest of the city centre lies another huge hotbed of construction, KL Metropolis. Like the Tun Razak Exchange, it's a mixed-use development of just over 70 acres that's being built in stages over 2 decades. But this site will be a new hub for international trade. It's divided into 9 huge parcels that include high-rise office towers, residences and retail space. Again, similar to TRX, there's a super tall skyscraper being planned for the site, the 100-storey NASA's signature tower. Rising over 400 metres, it's going to be built on the same plot as a 5-star hotel, mall and luxury condos. And yet, this immense structure ain't going to be the centrepiece. That honour goes to the International Trade and Exhibition Centre, which has been here since 2017. The idea is that once all the buildings going up around it are finished, KL can position itself as one of the world's most attractive destinations for conferences and other large events. That's potentially more good news for the capital of a country whose economy is on the rise again. These projects are just some examples of how important construction is to the growth of developing nations. They can be a huge catalyst for change, and for Malaysia might be just what it needs to begin its long-awaited new chapter. 30 years ago, it was on track to become the 5th so-called Asian tiger, joining Hong Kong, Singapore, South Korea and Taiwan as a high-growth, developed East Asian economy. That never quite came to be, but with these projects coming to fruition over the next few years, it could be on course to finally join that prestigious club. This video is made possible by Bluebeam. You can learn more about that at the link below, and as always, if you enjoyed this video and you want to get more from the definitive video channel for construction, make sure you're subscribed to the B1M.